Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's definitely not easy, and that is dealing with grief. Having been presented with a situation, or even knowing that you've got a situation where somebody may pass, maybe you know you're leaving a job. There's grief involved in that too. How do you move your life forward? How do you deal with what's called the seasons of grief? I didn't know it existed until I met her. We're going to learn more about it today. She is the wonderful woman that put together the National Grief Support Center.com, helping people with this all the time. And so wonderful to have her back here. Always learn a lot, not just about grief, but life in general from Julie Ehlers. And she's on the program. How are you today?
I'm very good. I'm excited to talk about the seasons of grief today. And it's not easy to talk about these things. And I hope that people can, be open to understanding themselves better if they're facing grief by this conversation today.
Hmm.
And also by all the podcasts that we've done. Um, so the seasons of grief, when we're faced with somebody in our lives who, say, had a terminal disease, and we know now that maybe they're in hospice, or something tragic suddenly changed, and boom, the doctors say they only have 3 days to live or only a few hours. We are in the first season of grief, right there. Boom,
Hmm.
gut punched. And if we didn't know that person was going to die and they just dropped dead on us, we are gut punched and drop to our knees in that first starting of the season of grief. And during that time, it can be chaotic. It could be a time where you're completely shut down, time where you're going through the motions because you have to get through it. Um, and or it can be a peaceful journey for you and your loved one as they pass. And, some of us have been blessed with that. I have. And where we can sit, witness, and love, just love the person through their last hours of life. And other times, people don't have that. And that's where it could also be chaotic. And it could also be chaotic if you're in the hospital with your loved one and a person in the family doesn't want them to die. So they're adamant, like arguing and
Hmm.
trying to get the doctors to do some brilliant intervention. And it's not going to happen. And the doctors, when they tell you that it's their time, it's their time. You can't do any more preventative or intervention to extend life because it does come to an end after all the interventions and the person tried to fight off the terminal disease, but they couldn't in the end. And we have to come to, at some point in our journey, accepting that. But that's certainly not typically in the first season.
Hmm. Are there four seasons?
Hmm.
Okay,
There are. There
gotcha.
are.
Hmm.
And we'll get to the fourth. So there's your first season, and the funeral takes place, and people, say and do things that they should and shouldn't do, and you're kind of left after the funeral with everybody gone, and you are sitting witness to yourself and what you're facing inside yourself with this incredible loss. So then we move to the second season, which is where you have to go back to work. Most people have to go back to work, and life continues. It just continues, but yet you are in this fog. And you're like, when am I going to have a good day or a day where I'm not exhausted? Because grief brings you exhaustion.
Hmm.
You want your partner back, or you want your, son or daughter back, etc., whomever you've lost. And they're not coming back. And you have to sit with that reality, but it's not really sunk in yet.
Hmm.
It's a weird thing. You go about life, you're not expecting to see them. I don't mean to imply that, but it just hasn't sunk in that you're never going to see them again.
Does it almost feel like a dream?
Yes. And I've heard literally people say, I wish I would wake up from this nightmare,
Hmm.
literally. And other people during this time, which is interesting. And I just heard a absolutely stunning story about a friend of mine who lost her dog 3 weeks ago. They had to put him down. And it's been really brutal on this couple. And they didn't have children, and so Cooper was their child. And um, Cooper came to one of them in the wee morning hours. Um, that like in between waking up stage and you're sort of awake, you're not awake. That's the fine line, I always say, between the spiritual world and our living world. And
Hmm.
Cooper came to one of them and was tapping on the shoulder like he would have when he was alive. And then he licked her face, and she's like, Cooper, go away, go away. And then she came to the realization that's Cooper. Oh my gosh, that's Cooper. And and then he was up and he started twirling around like dogs do when they want food, but he was healthy. He no longer had the neurological issues that he had, and he was healthy. And so he came to her. And in these times, sometimes even our people come to us to let us know that they are okay.
Do
And
you
it could
let's
be,
can we just jump
yeah.
pause the season two we're in? Are
Yeah.
there names for the seasons, or we just call them the first season, the second
We're
season?
just we're just doing
Okay.
first, second, third,
I
and fourth.
I,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this. Now that we're in a spiritual area, do you believe that our loved ones show signs?
Absolutely, 100%. And it's from my own personal experiences and
Same.
experiences that I hear from others.
Same.
And yeah, yeah. And that's why I share the Cooper story because it happens. It's it's with our pets, it's with our people. Um, and I do believe too, Steve, though, that people who are open to experiencing that are the ones who will have it really come forward for them.
I agree. And I
Yeah,
tell everybody, and it's just
yeah,
because I want them to experience what I experience. Ask for a sign,
yes.
specific. Don't necessarily say, I need to see this,
Mm-hmm.
but just, I need a specific sign. Can you please show me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're open to it and, you're aware of it, because sometimes we go through life just robotically, just doing our thing, you're going to miss it. But when it
Yes,
shows up, I do believe it's going to be very specific. Um,
yes,
and I just speak from experience, and I'm skeptical, and I can't punch a hole in it. The signs are very specific and wonderful, reassuring as well.
yes, yes. So during that second season, you could have these experiences, which then can lead to because if you're having that experience, you are in the process of healing. You're able to receive something that is
Mm,
more like soul soothing rather than, just soul wrenching. Um, because so much of grief in the first season is wrenching, and you kind of move into the second season and you wonder why people are functioning normally and laughing and carrying on around you. And you're thinking inside, I'm not there. Why are they so jovial, And Jesus, I can't be around them because
Mm,
I'm just not there. And so people go often into isolation. And sometimes that's okay for a little bit. It's not okay for the long haul. So it's good to get out and, like a turtle, you stick your neck out a little bit. It's safe. Take a few steps, go back in, stick
mm.
your head out again, and you keep going like that until you get into the third season. And in that season, you're really starting to heal where you're integrating the fact that your loved one, perhaps you lived together because you were married or you just lived together, and they passed, and now you're into the third season, and you are able to get up and have a cup of coffee without falling apart because you used to have your coffee with them.
Mm.
Um, so now you're able to sit and have your coffee. And maybe you're not, having a morning cry and you're noticing you're okay.
I have to imagine, though, there can be a little bit of guilt filtering in, trickling in. Like I'm feeling okay, but I feel guilty. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should be, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I felt that way. Why? I mean, how can I go on when this person, this love in my life passed away? I mean, it's just like, even if they had the opportunity to tell you, I want you to have a full life, which I was very lucky to have that conversation. Um, a lot of people aren't. And so they can even feel more guilty.
Hmm.
Guilt literally means that you've brought harm to that other person. If you're talking about guilt when it has to do with a human being, that you have brought harm and you realize your harm. That's the meaning of guilt. Guilt, though, you
Hmm.
didn't bring harm. You did not bring harm to your loved one who just dropped, right? Passed away from a massive heart attack, or to your loved one that suffered from a terminal illness. Nobody, you were trying to save them when they dropped. You were trying to get every intervention known to science to intervene to save your loved one from the horrible disease they got. And yet they died. But that was not in your control.
Yep.
It was just not. And so in your third season, you come to some of this and you do not need to feel guilty and keep yourself in the prison, because that's like keeping your soul in a prison of no longer living in the present, no longer having, you can have joy in your life, but you're not allowing love in. You're not allowing yourself to receive it or to be able to give it on the level that maybe you had it in the past. And living like that for me is not living fully. It's not experiencing life on every nuanced level that's beautiful and difficult and enraging and joyful, all the things, right? So I think that it's important in this third season to realize all those things and say, so and so would not want me to live in my own prison and not have love again.
Hmm.
I need to be able to see that love is all around me, and maybe I can experience that intimacy again on that level, because to stay in intimacy with someone who's passed away is not living fully in the present, in the journey that was intended for that person.
Is it when you're in the third season, is it much of a situation where you have to give yourself permission?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have to say it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to, want to hold somebody else's hand. It's okay to give a hug and feel that chemistry with another human being. I mean, that's a very natural, normal thing. And to also feel that chemistry and the closeness of sharing emotions with another human being that you also might be attracted to should you have lost a spouse. So I mean, I really encourage people to jump, just jump and let yourself go. You're going to be caught in the wonders of life that includes love, that includes intimacy again, that includes all the stuff that comes with that, that's yummy, juicy, and messy.
You got to give yourself permission.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
you
You
know,
do.
it's because nobody else is going to do it for you, you know?
No, no.
Mm.
And that's the thing, Steve. It's like when you lose somebody and you thought you were going to live your whole life with them and they've passed, that is so heart-wrenching. And just, my God, it's something that you never wish for anybody to have to experience. But yet, even people who've been married for, like my grandparents were married 80 years. My grandma didn't want to live another day without my grandpa.
Mm.
And she did. She did. And those days were filled with her grandchildren, great grandchildren, her own children, and all of her friends. Her sisters and her sisters-in-law and brothers, they had all passed. These two were the last on each side to live. And um, they didn't want to go on, even though they'd had all those years together. They didn't want to go on without one another.
Mm.
So if you've been married 20 years, 10 years, or 30 years, and it's been a good marriage and you've lost your love, the feelings of not wanting to have anybody else in your life but them are big. But after a while, I think it's super important to heal because you're still young. People who are, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s are still young. They can have love again in their lives. Even 80s, people find love again in their lives. And that's a beautiful thing to be open to that. But you do have to give yourself permission.
Mm.
You do have to be open to risk taking.
Well, it's also, I believe, a risk you're taking with your feelings because you're not sure how that's going to go. How am I going to feel if I open myself up to someone, a situation? We all want to feel safe and comfortable. We all want to
Right,
feel safe.
right.
That might not feel safe, understandably, because it's new territory. When was the last time you had somebody? When was the last time your spouse passed away and you had to move on? Never. So it's a
Ever,
whole
right.
new situation. Um, Fourth season, how does that look?
Fourth season is when you have integrated the first, second, and third season into your heart and soul, into your psyche, where you've come to accept the fact that this person will no longer be in your life, and where you've said it's okay to move forward, and where you've said it's okay to have a full life again, both in your work, your personal life, where you can let go of holding on to feelings from the past and move forward with feelings in the now and live fully. And you also have a time of transformation where you might evaluate what you want to do in your life. You might evaluate what you want to give back, what you want to take with you. You might shed old friends that, you know, you learned a lot about your relationship during your grief and it doesn't
Mm,
work anymore. So there's that. There are so many things that are positive that come out of the first, second, and third seasons of grief in your fourth season. And all of it, Steve, is paying attention to how you're feeling and making moves, making internal moves in your life of which way you want to go. And you can choose to stay stagnant, but that's not going into your fourth season.
mm.
Even your third season, you're moving. You're allowing your grief to move and you are moving forward. Even in that third season, if you are starting to shed, which you are, the past, because that's healing. You're not going to stay with your head in all the trauma of the hospitals and the emergency services coming to your house and all that stuff. You're not going to stay there. We need to move it. And I think that some of us naturally do that, and
Hmm.
some of us need some help going along the way.
I
And I think
totally
it's
see
really
it
important to
the way
recognize that.
the way you're explaining it, that we hold on to those, but life is changing every single day. We're
Yes,
changing. We're
yes,
evolving. We're on journeys. And by the fourth season, a lot of that you've made changes. And I've heard this often too, that people are in your life for a season or a reason. And there may be people that you realize going through this that don't serve you or support you anymore.
right,
And you may have
right.
thought they did, but this kind of, it's almost like season four is like a little bit of housekeeping in a way, taking stock,
Yes.
taking inventory of where am I? What do I got here? What's going on? Um,
Hmm.
those people never didn't even reach out to me. I thought they were
Right.
they were always there. Well, like what? And there could be reasons they may feel uncomfortable, whatever, but you'll know whether they don't fit your
Hmm.
life anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
Um,
Hmm.
we're out of time. Thank you for sharing this today.
You're more than welcome.
Good stuff. And we take the five stages of grief long ago and we threw that away. Yeah, that doesn't support. Um,
Oh,
if somebody does need support um, on either side, maybe it's they want to help somebody who's grieving and don't know how to do it. Or if you're that person, how do we find you, Julie?
call me at 720-480-3317, or you can reach me at the National Grief Support Center.com. I'd love to chat with you.
Always wonderful talking with you. You have a way about you that it can never be duplicated in terms of compassion and
Thank you.
understanding. Appreciate it. And we'll talk
Thank
soon,
you.
okay?
Have a great day.
You too. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.